slipping back and forth, talking to the trees, but everything was simple as it is. Control yourself, my darling, hold me the chair, just a little bit further and we'll be here. Settle down, my friend, we're inching closer, reach your hand out to the finish line. So slip me over, paradise days, there's a paradise day. And darling, we will sing until we die. We'll never waste these tears on fears and cries. And now the world is ours to take, and every single moment is ours to live.
Alright, just try and find a seat. I think there's a space over there. Alright, you'll be working in teams today. Alright, if you see a monitor in front of you, that's where your team is going to be located at. You have about 4 or 5 people per team. Alright, so try and get your teams in front of the monitor. Yeah, there's a chair here.
Get both of those. Bring both of those here.
Alright, get acquainted with your own team members. Alright, you have to trust them.
Is that not a monitor?
No, that's not working. So yeah, that one is also a team. So 4 or 5 us to a team. Yeah, I see that.
Alright. All the way at the back, who's your team? Raise up your hands. Back computer, who's your team? Raise up your hands. Are you guys good? Yeah, yes. Oh, just you two? And one? Alright. Are you guys good? 5 people? 5 people? Alright, how about you two be with these 2 guys over here? Alright? Okay, cool. And you will join them. Awesome. Okay, everyone comfortable? It's a little cozy in here, but that's what we're gonna do, alright? You guys are in teams right now, in front of 7 different monitors. Alright, this is your workstation for today. You do not need any other laptops or computers. You should not want to use your own computers. Alright, this is the security lab. Alright, so you should be very careful of whatever you do inside here, because anything here can be compromised. Okay, welcome to Hacking Ninja 101. Alright, my name is Bern. I'll be your master for today in this journey as we learn about a certain way of hacking. Alright, and helping me is Gavin. Alright, he's a personal master hacker himself. So do not piss him off today, else you'll be walking off here without your Facebook account. Alright. So just to reiterate, alright, every single computer here is dangerous, it's compromised, alright? Do not type in any passwords or anything sensitive on these computers. We already tried to help you a little bit by installing custom operating systems, as you can see before you, alright? But other than that, help yourselves by not doing anything except listening to me and doing the code that I tell you to do, alright? And I can guarantee you get out of this safely. So today, we're going to be learning about the art of arc poisoning. Alright, this is a certain kind of man-in-the-middle attack. I'll talk about this a little more later. Alright, but arc poisoning is what we're interested in today. In order to understand what arc poisoning is, we need to understand what is actually targeting. What arc poisoning targets is your network. Okay? So let's do a little visualization here. Your network is like your playground. Okay? It is within the grasp of your hands. You have a mailbox. Alright, this is you have a mailbox. Imagine in your playground, you have a friend. And you two like each other quite a lot, so you start talking to each other, right? And how do you normally talk to each other in the real world? I'm not too sure how you guys do it, you kids do it these days, but I send letters to my friends. Alright, so I'll write a letter and I'll go and find my friend and put it in their mailbox. And because there's only two of us in this playground, I know that as long as I see another mailbox, that has to be my friend, right? And so I'll put it in, and then my friend will know that he has mail, he reads it, and then he can write a reply. And when he comes out and tries and find where I am, as long as my friend sees that there's a mailbox somewhere, he or she will know that that mailbox belongs to me. But that's not how it really works in the real world, because you have loads of other people in the network, in the playground. Alright, so how do we solve this in the real world? Alright, how do we solve this cacophony of different mailboxes all around the same network? Use a post office. Okay? So how do we use this post office system? Okay, every mailbox has an address. When you write letters to someone, you bring it over to the post office, but you do not write your friend's name. Alright, they don't really care what's the name of the person you're trying to send it to. What they care about is your address, and that's what you write on your letters, on the front of your letters. And for yourself, how do you know what addresses to send to? These addresses will be in your address book, linked to a person's name, your friend's name. All of these will be listed in your address book. And for a computer in a network, this address book is called the ARP table. ARP stands for Address Routing Protocol. It's just a set of rules in place, just like our postal service, that will help you to make sure that your messages get to the right person and you receive messages correctly. So that's where our ARP table comes in. And ARP tables are residing in each and every computer connected to a network. And inside the ARP table, you're going to have the address, which is like the IP address in the computers, and you're going to have the actual person's name, and that is a MAC address in the computer. So now, let's not care about everyone else. Let's just care about the communication between your friend and the post office. And we're going to see what we can do with that communication. So the first thing we need to see is what is inside an ARP table exactly. So when you run a command in the command prompt, ARP-A, what it does is, alright, don't touch the computers yet, alright? Hands off, alright? Let me poison you, let me scare you a bit. Alright, so ARP runs the ARP command, and then -A lists down every single entry in your ARP table. And the ARP rules are very, very simple. The creators made it as such. Okay? And an ARP protocol will run through two different commands, a request and a reply. When you do an ARP request, what happens is, for example, Nick. Alright, so Nick, he went to the bar last night and, wait, how old are you, Nick? I don't know. Okay, Nick went to the playground last night and he met a pretty cute girl, okay, and then they hit it off pretty well and they start talking. And then the clock struck midnight and the girl had to rush off because, I don't know. And then Nick was left with just her IP? No, not just left with her address. Okay, Nick only got her address, he didn't get her name. And he's like, oh shit, I didn't get her name. I only have where she lives. Alright, so the next day, Nick Nick will do this because he follows the rules of an ARP, okay, an ARP network. So what Nick does is he will shout to the entire world, who has this address, who has this address, tells every single person until the message reaches, what's your name? Anne? Okay, until the message reaches Anne. And Anne is like, hey, that's my address. So she, according to rules of ARP, is obliged to give Nick a reply. So she would tell Nick, hey, actually, that's my address. I'm Anne. And then now you guys can hit it off pretty well without being at the playground. So that's one way of doing an ARP exchange. There's another kind of way, the reverse way, which is basically the exact same thing, except we swap out a request for IP with a MAC request. And the craziest part about this ARP protocol is that you do not even need to have a request in order to give a reply. For example, now Nick and Anne are really, really good friends. They've been talking to each other, getting to know each other for about 1.5 years. And then I come in and I go up to Anne and I'm like, hey, actually, I stay at wherever Nick is staying. And my name is actually Bern. And then she would be like, oh, okay, because she follows the rules of ARP protocol, she takes out the address book and she's complied to delete Nick's name and put my name instead. So now, every time Anne wants to talk to Nick, she's actually talking to me. And I am pretending to be Nick. And that's pretty crazy. That makes this whole place just a game of lies. All right, this network is pretty crazy. And we will use that concept to conduct something called ARP poisoning. All right, ARP poisoning is a hidden technique that my masters have taught me for generations and generations. Their masters have taught them to the beginning of Master Ninja hacking time. And this, I'm going to impart on you today. So what happens with ARP poisoning is, I will be in the middle of, for example, Nick stays in the ECE building, all right, and the postal service is in the Union. So they have been doing the message exchange for a long time, okay? And then now, I come in, and I go to the postal service and I tell them, hey, actually, I stay in the ECU building, but I'm not Nick, I am Bern. And the postal service will be like, okay, sure, then I'll just send you all the mail that's actually intended for Nick. And then I go over to Nick at the ECE building, and I tell Nick, hey, I'm actually the postal service. I'm from the Union. And then Nick will be like, okay, sure. I'll send you all my mail that's intended for the postal service. And so this is basically what happens. And now you have an in. You can get all the messages from Nick, all of the messages from the postal office that were actually intended for each other. And you can process all this information. And the thing about ARP poisoning or any kind of method that you're trying to use to be super ninja secret, you have to cover your tracks. So we do something called IP forwarding within your own computer so that anything that comes to you after you process it, you can send it on and nobody will know any different. Okay, so now it's time to make your own ARP poisoning. Everybody in front of your computers, just wake it up. And please log into Facebook. No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Alright, open up the spoof.py on your desktop. Just double click it, open it. Okay, this is your main program that you're going to use to do ARP poisoning. Okay, it's a Python file, and this is where we're going to really make packets go towards you and make sure that everything goes smoothly when it comes to you. So first thing you need to do is you need to figure out who you're going to attack and where the postal service or the router is. So first thing you can do is open up your command prompt terminal. Alright, you just click this button and open up terminal. Okay? And then type in this command, ifconfig. Alright, everyone good? So in ifconfig, what it does, it lists out all the information about your network card. And the one that you're interested in is your own IP address. Over here. So if you have found out your IP address, please shout it out. There we go. Alright. Okay, so your IP address will be something like 192.168.100 or .something else. That's your own IP address. But what we're really interested in is your router's IP address. Okay? So IP show route will let you know the path that your computer takes through the network and list out any other components that are involved. Okay, apologies. It's IP route show. And IP route show, as you can see, the first line, default via some address. That address is your router's address. Okay? It'll be something like 192.168.100.1. Everyone got that? Cool. All right. So now let's go back to our program and fill that in. Okay, remember to make it in double inverted because Python, if you want to declare a string, all right, it should be inside inverted commas. And your victim IP, all right, will be the group beside you. All right, I told you guys to trust your own group members, but I did not tell you to trust the groups beside you. All right, so what we're going to do is pick a group beside you, all right, ask them for their IP address and exchange IP address. Do not lie about this, all right? Okay, we will have 7 groups over here, so there should be 1 group that does not have a partner. Just share with the other 2 groups.
Probably ask them to exchange with this one. Are you exchanging with that group? Okay, yeah. So, wait, who is exchanging for? Yeah, they are both together. Are those 2 groups exchanging information? Okay, in that case, it's just,
All right, so if I'm not wrong, these 3 groups are working together. The 3 on my right, all right, and then the 2 at the back on my left, and the 2 at the front. All right, cool, awesome.
So this is yours. So for the same IP, yes. Yeah, and vice versa. Yeah. So so you have your IP and there's your
All right, so fill in your victim IP as the other group.
You get this group's IP. So then we'll just take this. Yeah, you can get this group's IP.
Okay. All right. So now that we've got our IP addresses, we also need your victim and router's MAC addresses, aka their actual names. So what we do is arc ping. Anyone here is familiar with what a ping is? Ping? All right. Someone shout it out. What does a ping mean? Okay, cool. All right. So a ping just basically means you're checking whether the person at that IP address is alive. Okay, so you'll ping an IP address, and then someone will reply back. Okay, so we'll do a version of that called an arc ping, and what it does is it will ping the IP address that you have just indicated, and it will reply with your that person's MAC address. Okay, so now you get their MAC address, and then the next thing you need to do is the while loop all the way at the bottom. All right, this is your actual running script. What's going to happen all the way until you decide to stop. Okay, so inside this while loop, you'll be specifying 2 things. All right, you need to send packets to the victim and you need to send packets to the router and tell them about that new exchange. I'm pretending to be the victim, you tell the router, and I'm pretending to be the router, is what you tell the victim. All right? So how are you going to do this? It's with this function, the send function. All right? So you write send, arc, and then OP is the type of packet you're sending. So just now I mentioned there are two types of requests. First one is asking every single person who this address is. And the second type of request is telling people, telling a specific person, hey, this is my address, I am actually this person. Okay, so you'll be using the second type. You're forcing people to write down in the address books that you are actually a fake person. Okay, so I'll run through this with you. What you're going to do is, you'll write two functions for each router and to your victim. Okay, and you'll put in the different variables that will be requested. All right, so try and fill it in now. OP equals to 2, and then comma. Your P will be your IP. So IP destination, IP source. All right, write down what you think it's supposed to be. Okay, and then hardware means MAC address. So just put in the variable you think you have declared at the top. Which one should fill up each blank? All right, and for this case, because we're in a while loop, the last part about count you do not need, because count just repeats the function over and over again. So you do not need that because you're in a while loop. So you don't need to write that. All right?
Okay, so what you want to do is you have to write through instead of that and fill in the blanks. Okay, so
So you would write the entire line and then copy it.
yeah, and fill in the blanks, correct. So could you show the I think it shows the time which you use. Yeah. So okay, so in that case, for instance, so the first line will be 2 because what we want to be sending is an up reply. Since you are not trying to get a response from someone, so you want to reply to the machines. For packet, key that this packet destination, it refers to who you want to send this up reply to. In this case, you are trying to get the victim to think that you are the router. So what you want to do is you want to send to the victim's IP, correct?
So notice I didn't do hardware source, because now you're going to try and trick the router or trick your victim into thinking that the source is you. So you do not need to indicate it, it's optional. And the router will automatically assume that you're the right person that they are getting the packets.
Hardware destination. In this case, it will be the victim's MAC address. Yeah, correct, hardware destination. And for the first part, you do not need to fill in the hardware source because the source will by default be you, your true MAC address. So what you are doing is essentially you are sending a up reply to the victim to declare that I am
Alright, so I just gave you
and this is my MAC address.
The first destination IP should be your victim's IP. Okay? So what IP should be your source IP? That's right. Okay, so the next, the source IP should be your router IP. And what will be the MAC address destination? Anyone? Alright, someone shout it out. Alright, you already declared your variable victim IP and router IP, so you do not need to type it out again. Alright, so because this send packet is intended to your victim, alright, so your hardware destination should be your victim.
You could have used the variables you had just now. You could just use that, yeah, so that will be similar. But this will still, yeah.
Okay, so now that we have this, try and fill up the second line. it will be the other way around now.
Okay, there are a couple of ways that people do things, and most of the ways are actually the router. The router should have fixed up to
So the Mac is better.
router messages, not just messages.
Like doing the ping, remember?
So this is something that we very well tried in most places. Yes, it is, but in this lab, no. Yeah, it is.
All right, everyone good? Who else has questions? All right, I'll fill out the second
You can
line.
use that because you have already declared the IPs previously. Yeah, correct. So that
All right, someone shout it out to me. What should I fill out here? Router ID. Okay, next one.
okay, so in that case, yeah, correct. You could just use
And the final one? That's right. All right, awesome. Okay, yes.
Would the OP not change?
Sorry?
OP stands for
Option.
So
Yeah, so option you're trying to decide whether it's 1 or 2. So 1 being you're sending out the broadcast message, and 2 being the exact reply that I mentioned earlier.
okay.
So we just want to force a reply.
We want to force it aside.
Exactly.
And do you have to specifically use Python for this, or
You can use any language you want. It's just that Python is usually very easy to type. Okay, so that now that we're all good, we'll go to the second part of this code, which is this part. Okay, so like a good ninja, alright, when you finish your task and you have completed the assassination or whatever you want to do, you have to leave quietly and you have to cover up your tracks. You don't want people to know you've been there. Okay, and that's what this function is for. Okay, so now the first thing we want to do is, because we have told everyone the fake MAC address, we would now want to spam everyone with send packets, ARP packets, with the truth. So people will change back their address books and no one will be the wiser. Okay? So same thing, you would have an ARP packet, and you're still forcing people, so option is 2. And the destination would be someone. What do you think? Okay,
victim of Mac.
for the first.
So
That's right. Okay, so for our first line, of course, victim IP.
yeah,
And then still IP.
and then your packet sources the
Okay, and carry on. Okay, so OP is option, and option is either 1 or 2. 1 being you're doing that broadcast message to everyone, and 2 being the forced reply that people are supposed to write down. Okay, and the source would be router IP. Okay, and one thing you need to take note here is that everyone in the network will have an address book too, and they need to update their address books because they're listening into your conversation. They won't know what are the contents of the conversation between 2 computers, but they know, okay, so this IP address right now is going to this computer and vice versa. So they will have updated the ARP tables too. So what you need to do is, in your hardware destination, you need to send to every other single computer. And to do that, instead of declaring a static IP address, you send to every single computer like that. Alright? So in the world of computing, alright, will be hexadecimals. So we don't count from 0 to 9. We'll go beyond that and count A, B, C, D until 9. So FF is the maximum value.
So it's 15.
Okay? And then because now we're telling the truth, we're going to say what is actually correct. So now you have to write the hardware source, which would be anyone? Alright, so who's your source right now? Router. Alright, so you need to declare the source as router MAC.
Connected to a single network that you control. Yeah, that means there will be no leakage. Yeah.
Okay, and because this is not a while loop, and sometimes
Yeah, this is
computers,
not
it takes
connected.
time for them to actually understand what the hell is going on. So we will need to send it multiple times to them. So we use the count function.
Because it's not just because you ignore it doesn't mean it's not happening. Yeah, it's people are
And 3 times the charm, so let's send 3 times. Alright?
It depends on what you use it for. Yeah, it's a 2. It's a 2. It's just like a 9. It depends on whether you use it to cut vegetables or use it to slash people.
Okay, so we write the second one for the other part of the transaction. And destination IP, what is it? That's right. And destination, source IP. That's right. And hardware destination. All of them, that's right. The hardware source. That's right. And same thing, just set accounts. Okay? Alright. Now the final thing we need to do, remember on my slide, we mentioned that the victim and the router must not know what's going on. So we need to enable IP forwarding. So, how the computer knows whether they should do IP forwarding is in a file over here. Okay, so we need to access that file and change its value. The default value for IP forwarding is 0 or off. So now we're going to change it to 1 or on. So what we write here is, we declare the file name as IPF. So we will go into IPF and write a new value of 1. And just make a new line, alright? Because that's how the file is read. And close. Take note of where you're doing the slash. It should be a forward slash, not a backslash. Alright. There is a real difference.
Yeah, that's backslash right here.
Okay.
That's backslash.
Sorry?
Yeah. I think it's the direction that you're moving from. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way it is on.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone good? All right, so now that we've done it, remember that we also have an exit function, all right, over there. Attach Control C. Control C means quit. That's when you want to finish your job. Okay, so we also need to change that value in the IP forward file back to 0, so that no one suspects anything. So we'll do IPF, right? 0. Okay? 0. The slash is an escape character so that you can write a function after that. So N means new line. Okay, who's not done? Alright, so while this is happening, the rest of you, so for the rest of you, in your pairs of groups, choose one person to be the victim and one person to be the attacker. Alright, just choose it right now. I'll give you a few seconds. Okay, and the attacker, right now, run the first line in your command prompt. Sudo. Okay, wait, sorry, before that, when you open a new command prompt, you need to change your directory to the desktop. That's where all your files are. So type in, yeah, type in CD space capital D desktop. All right, so CD means change directory. You're going into your desktop.
So like right here.
Yeah, are you in the desktop now? Okay, you have the CD desktop space, capital D, space, CD, space. Yeah, capital D.
All right.
Yeah.
Once you're done, once you're in the desktop, all right, the attacker group, type in the first line, sudo space Python space, on terminal, that's
Yeah,
right.
in terminal.
Yeah, space your Python file's name.
Here, there's one less. Okay, yeah, and type that sudo python smooth.py.
Yes. Okay, remember to save your Python file first before you do anything. Okay, yeah,
I think
save the
it
file.
first. Yeah, Control S. Yeah, click on Control S. Yeah, Control S.
Okay, good. All right, if it's all good, it should be running. Okay, on the victims' computers, the victim groups, open up your terminal and type ARP, yes. All right. So the victim computers type in ARP space -A. This will list down your ARP table.
So I think there's an area that says that expects an indented block.
Okay, how did you indent the block? You have to.
Okay, so for these, who are trying to get IP address? Yeah, correct. So what happens is, I think they're trying to run attack on their own. So if you try to get theirs, there will be conflicts. So which is why you get the MAC address. So you have to wait for one of the groups to be done. It's trying to do the same thing. Yeah, correct. Yeah, and this is what it's trying to say is actually this is not because of the issue. It's our system /.
So the indentation is off as well?
So basically, and then we have
Yes, that's right. No, that's right. Okay, we should be good.
For these, the ones who just without the when you are referring to a variable, the ones who not using the comments.
so who chips in the other part?
Yeah, so no sending. Right. But but if you're conflicting, it will also cause issues.
Okay, so for all the victims, after your attacker has run their program, all right, and you have run the command ARP-A, you can see that the router's IP address and your attacker's IP address would have the same MAC address. And that's not supposed to happen, right? The router is supposed to have their own MAC address. Okay, so that's where you know your ARP poisoning is working. All right, so now you go one step further. We have a filter that we're going to use to try and mess up the packets that are being sent to your victim. Okay, so what you do now in your command prompt for the attackers, all right, type in /filter. You may want to open a new window because your current window will be running the Python
So
file.
open a new tab, file new tab. On the terminal,
CD back to the desktop.
Exactly, yeah.
And run /filter, and the filter file is in the desktop. It's called
You can
filter.
either open a new tab or you can open a new terminal. That's fine.
How many packets does it send?
It will just keep sending like one every 1.5 seconds. Yeah. Okay, so CD desktop again. Change directory to desktop again. Space desktop. Yeah.
You guys are
No. Enter, yeah, correct. The enter filter, ETTER. Filter, LTR. Space. Okay, the filter name is called filter. It's on the desktop. You see that? Yeah, so it's just filter. FILTR. The filter is a filter. Yeah. Yeah, no, don't have the square angle
Alright, I'll
brackets.
just write it down.
Yeah, I think you should just replace the file name with filter, it'll be easier. Yeah,
Okay, so what you
no,
write
without the brackets.
Enter
So
filter,
it's just for filter,
space,
FIL.
filter, and dash O is your output file name.
Mhm.
So you want it to be filter dot,
Yeah, space, dash O,
yeah.
space,
Okay.
filter. You can press up, you can press up. Yeah, correct, then you just want it. Filter,
Alright.
FILTR, dot
Okay, after,
EF. Yeah, correct, and then press enter. So what this does is it compiles a filter for you. Yes,
so
okay,
after
so.
you've done that, you have a filter file that you can use with Etiquette. Etiquette is your packet manipulation program. Okay, so you take every packet that it has and you try and do something to it. So run sudo etiquette -t -f filter.ef.
Yeah, it is. So you probably have to wait for one of them to be done, then you get your turn to try, yeah.
Space, dash, and I just wait to make sure we.
Are you running your filter? No, it's not running yet. So that one you just compiles it, but there'll be a next command. The next command will run it. Yeah. Quickly, dash T dash F filter.pf, and then being burn the picture. He might
We don't.
Okay, so
Do you need not use a pseudo?
yeah, sudo, correct.
yeah, sudo.
Yeah, so sudo indicate.
So sudo just gives you admin rights so that you can run certain functions that are usually not allowed. Alright, so you have 3 slashes, space, and then your victim's IP address. Alright, for those people getting attacked, maybe you can look over at the other groups and see what's happening.
Yeah, you'll get a chance in a while.
Alright, so 100 of blah is just your victim's IP.
2 slash
You need to get the
afterwards.
last one.
Yeah, 2 slashes. Yeah, 1 more slash. Yeah, one more. Yeah, correct. Okay, so yeah, it's running right now.
Alright, so if you have it running, then I want all the victim computers to open up their browsers.
Is it double slash at the end or triple?
You
Wait, how many slashes
you
at the
get
end?
the IP correct.
So 3 slashes, space, your victim's IP address. Alright, with 1 slash in front, 2 slashes behind.
the command because yeah, it should.
Alright, make sure you're in your desktop.
Okay, because I think for this computer, the reference is a little different, so let's check the other one. Yeah, right. Because for this computer, the interface is all F0, so the it can trick up a little. Simply refresh the page again and see if it works. Yeah, that's all the traffic that's going through from the computer. Yeah, so as you can see, just try going to the website. Try to go to a non-HTTPS website that will we suggest Dell.com or something.
Just right.
You notice something different. We changed, we switched out all the to put all the D and the to yeah. Yeah, you can serve other page will just as well. Okay, so that group got it working. This group, is it working? Okay, so filter ran. If you try something to some page, we suggest Dell.com. We know it works. Dell.com, yeah.
Okay, now go to the website.
Try to see
go
what's
to like
different.
Dell.com. Yeah, Dell.com.
So we switch all the girl and
That's the website loaded.
It's switching.
yeah, it's switch. Yeah, later you're going to switch the roles and try.
Just wait till it loads.
It's long. Yeah, those two groups got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or might be. Is there a way for us to like switch it out?
Yeah, sure. You can modify the filter file. So the filter file you just blend
Want
it
to change it up a bit?
Yeah.
All right. You can open up the filter file
and just
change
change
the words
it to whatever you
to
want.
something else that you want.
Yeah, and yeah, that group probably yeah, okay.
Okay, so those groups that are done, all right, change over, let the victim be the attacker now, and let them have their fun.
Yeah, so
Okay.
so I think these two groups pretty fair because these groups haven't had a chance to try it. So yeah, we're trying to let them attack us.
So how do we
So you
stop
want to-
attacking? Or do we even need to stop attacking?
You can as long as you want, but if you want to switch over, then just type Control C.
So that's okay. So now give them your IP.
So now let them, have a type Control C.
Okay, so now you're exactly that. You're trying it yourself. Okay, so let them just okay, so
And then you guys do
okay, so you have the IP and saved it in the file, right?
I wasn't trying to tell you, but all the code is somewhere else.
Okay, so
so you can actually sudo
okay, so you have yes, so you
then now do sudo. So the IP is exactly what it's that. Dash D.
Oh, we're supposed to?
Okay, so what it's doing now is currently is something that okay, you want to just open up your projects or something, yeah, and then you watch like down the comments, yeah.
Could you put the code back up so the characteristics, the second group can do it?
It's not really working. Let's see. We want to, I think it may be crashed. So let's. Yeah. So we replace all the with, for instance, you could change the filter to whatever you want. Yeah,
No, I just go back to the code that's necessary to do the
so you could just end that and then let them attack it. We switch on the and he's a code. I think it's dot golf.
So in this method, you essentially have to know their IP address.
So awareness of what's around you, that's the thing. And you can figure it out in a lot of ways. There are some commands that can see, like remember we did IP trace route. Yeah, so you can do that trace route to find out, if you send a ping to every single address, you can send a website
work better under because some websites actually what they do is they force encoding, which means that they compress data. So we are using a very limited method that's simple to understand. So there are things that there are some
okay, so this that's not really
but in essence you can actually see
okay, so I'll talk about that.
Yeah, you just have to define the technique.
Alright guys, so what do you think? Isn't that pretty cool? Yeah? Alright, so R poisoning, that's basically what it's about. Some downsides of R poisoning, let's talk about it. You see that when you want to conduct an R poisoning attack, you have to use an IP address, you have to know their IP address. Alright, the way the network runs, alright, there are a lot of hidden rules that apply. So, right now when we're all in this internal network, everyone's IP address is 192.168.something.something. And that's how an internal network runs. But if you're outside of this room, outside of this building, you actually cannot just type in on your browser 192.168. Someone's IP address and actually access their computer. It does not work that way. It's all gated off. Okay, so ARP poisoning is useful when you have an in into an internal network. Other than that, it's pretty hard to get that in from outside the gates. Okay? All right, anyone has any questions about today? You guys have fun? Learn something new? Awesome. All right, before we end, all right, let's do this. You guys have officially graduated from Hacking Ninja 101. All right, give yourself a round of applause. All right, everyone stand up. Come over to the front. We'll take a group, class graduation photo? Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
Sorry.
And so someone did this in Java. Andrew Manto?
Alright, just come together behind here. Alright, those are those squeezing.
Yeah, got someone.
Alright, just get around. Let's do this. Alright, you're ninjas now, so give your best ninja pose. Alright? Is that it? Come on, it's like something. Yeah, that's right. Alright, something cool. Alright, let's do this. Alright, ninja poses, everyone. Let's do this.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Do that again. 1, 2, 3. Okay,
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys. I'm gonna hack this kid.
Give him the finger.
Let's go with
Face person.
Yeah, it's kind of like how I do. Like, you tell a story.
Normally we will just use tools, but then for this lesson we actually took the time to hyper-screen. Yeah, we actually formulated a hyper-screen so that we will net hack net hard like CARD. Right.
Thank you.
I think it's just a little like yeah, to give it, yeah, correct. Yeah,
There are a lot of
yeah, the how to
Correct. So, like, you see how simple it was to just try to find these things.
correct. Yeah, thanks.
And then,
Yeah,
disagree.
yeah, not this.
Yeah, I think we met.
Like, yeah.
Really? Oh, I have no idea. You guys roommate, you said?
Yeah, he went to study about this.
Oh, okay. Awesome. You teach any classes too?
Yeah.
What do you teach?
I thought it was demons to find the possible confusing the word web development.
So you taught them like web dev?
Not actually. I mean, so what I did was I explained to them what getting works was,
Okay.
and then I was like how a server works, and then I was like why people prefer to use a framework instead of and then I was like, so I wanted to avoid them getting lost in like, oh, I'm gonna use Angular, I'm gonna use Node, I'm gonna use Django, I'm gonna. So I wanted to get them like cut out the bullshit and understand why they need what they need. Just so understand the basics, then you like pick one tool and stick with it. So that's what I want to do.
Interesting. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know, like, I got confused before as well.
Yeah,
So many things online.
Yeah, or rather, I think people tend to think of like web development and anything in general as like just this black boxes management.
Yeah.
By just type in the URL and it just works. As in like you really know what's going behind.
Yeah.
Even the first time they actually knew that you could just use Telnet and just query the web server with text alone. As in it's a pretty empowering concept. It's out there for all to see, but just that people just treat web browsing as just like a magic.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, I think we have to.
Hang up.
Yeah, we're searching.
See you around, man.
It's alright, see you around.
Pretty nice course. That's one.
Thanks. Okay, let's get
Turn off everything.
I need to use the washroom first.
Okay.
Yeah, the second round was much better.
Yeah, it's so much better.
Yeah, the first round is okay. Yeah, the guinea pigs. Okay, stop recording. Alright. Yeah.